We ended up closing our first lead from YouTube in
Amazing.
and yeah, we had a whole bunch follow right after that. We didn't know we were going to generate, over commissions in our first 3 years.
From YouTube?
From YouTube, yeah.
That's crazy. That's a crazy stat.
I think a simple way to put it is, we 4x'd our investment with you guys.
In this video, I sat down with one of our current real estate partners and local Calgary, Alberta YouTube superstar Felix Chan from the Live Inner City group to talk about his experience as not only a successful real estate agent, but also a YouTube content creator, in addition to his experience working with me and my team at Lead Gen Pros, where we ran their YouTube advertising strategy. In this 30-minute interview, Felix and I chatted about things like, number one, the biggest trends that you need to pay attention to in 2025 and beyond. Number two, the single best platform and strategy to generate high-quality inbound leads. Number three, the secret of getting over your fear of getting on camera and the simple mindset shift that you need to make to overcome it, and so much more. Felix also shares some juicy stats on how long it took him to get his first deal with YouTube Organic and how much in commissions he's generated in 3 years of being on this platform. Lastly, he talks about his experience in working with us to run their YouTube ad strategy and the results that we were able to achieve. And if you want to get results just like Felix, click the link in the description for a free 10-minute training on exactly how we did it. Let's get straight to the video.
So Felix, welcome.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Thank you, man. So for anyone who's watching this and they don't know who you are, local Calgary YouTube superstar, Alberta YouTube superstar, I would say, tell us a bit about yourself and how you maybe got into the YouTube space.
Yeah, so I'm a realtor and mortgage broker. Mortgage broker since 2009, realtor since 2012, still hold both licenses. And, been doing real estate. And, in 2017, 2018, I was looking for a way to differentiate myself by thinking kind of longer term and seeing like what are the next trends in real estate. Because even though real estate, there's a lot of technology within it, the industry as a whole hasn't really evolved much, right? A lot of people could probably agree with that. And so, I just thought about it and I said, you know what, video is probably going to be the next big thing. So, I went to Denver, Colorado for a conference and I was sold. And so the next year in 2019, we started dabbling in YouTube. And that's when we started taking it seriously. So fast forward, many years till today, we've grown our local channel here for Calgary real estate to almost 11,000 subscribers. And we've done pretty well with it. We're with Real Broker, and we're one of the top 25 teams in all of Canada within our brokerage. And right now we have about 25,000 brokers.
That's crazy. So that's a crazy. I didn't even know that myself. So that's like what, 0.0001%, 0.001. Like that's got to be a pretty crazy number.
Yeah, it's less than 2%. I would think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I'm curious though, because we talk to like hundreds of realtors every single week. They ask us all the time, like, hey, what are the best platforms? And you kind of predicted this trend, I think, long before a lot of people did. But why did you maybe choose YouTube over a platform like, say, even TikTok or Instagram, even though they're both video? Like, why YouTube specifically?
Instagram is a social media platform. YouTube is not, right? It might be, some people might group it within that, but it's not. YouTube is actually a search engine. The second world's largest search engine, owned by the world's largest search engine, Google. And so with Instagram, the biggest difference is you could go viral and it would last maybe, a few days, a few weeks kind of thing. And then after that, it's hard for people to kind of find that unless they click on your profile and look for that video, right? But with YouTube, because it's a search engine, you can have videos, and we still have trending videos from, like a year, even more than that, where if people are searching for something, which is a targeted audience looking for something specific, our videos will pop up. And so it's way more work. It takes a lot of time, energy, and resources to be able to do YouTube on a consistent basis. But Jazz and I, my business partner, we've never been afraid of hard work. And it's a lot of work up front. So, we were okay with that. And we were okay. We didn't expect any deals or leads coming in for at least 1 year. That was my thought process going into it. So I knew it was going to be a grind. We ended up closing our first lead from YouTube in 6 months. So
amazing.
And yeah, we had a whole bunch follow right after that. So it did take a little bit of time, but I think the strength of the partnership that I have with Jazz is really like, we're not afraid of the hard work, because a lot of work up front, and it pays off over the long term. So that's why we chose YouTube, and it's worked out really well for us.
That's great that you have such a long-term mindset and attitude toward this, where you were like, hey, we're going to do it, we're going to commit to it for a year, and like whatever happens kind of happens, and luckily you're able to see traction. I think a lot of realtors we speak with, they want that fast success, and they don't see it after their first 4, 5, 6, 7, even 10, 20 videos. So they're like, screw it, YouTube doesn't work. And it's not to say YouTube doesn't work, it's just that, hey, you might not have the right strategies, the coaching, or the guidance to make it work. So kudos for you for not only doing it, but like sticking through it for all these years, man. Like, it's actually crazy to see what a testament to like what consistency can really do for you and your business.
Yeah. And, I think you said something that really stuck out, which is it does take time, right? And you can't give up with anything you do in a short period of time. And so, it wasn't just like, we had no idea where it would take us financially. We didn't know we were going to generate, over $320,000 in commissions in our first 3 years. We didn't know
From YouTube.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a crazy stat. I did not know that.
Yeah. Less than 3 years, actually.
Yeah.
We didn't know that it would have evolved our business to go from 1 virtual assistant to the 9 that we have today. We didn't know that I would have learned all these different skill sets from doing YouTube every single year for all these years. And so the benefit wasn't just financially, but it helped me grow personally, as well as helped me be better at public speaking. And when I do public speaking, a lot of people say, "Oh, you're really good at blah," and I'm like, dudes, I wasn't good at it, right? Like, no one is born out of the womb 10 out of 10, right? Like, people just don't know how much time and effort and blood and sweat and tears went into practicing, just being able to articulate things and think about the scripting and things like that. So it was a journey, and we knew that. And we learned, we got a lot more from it, other than just the financial piece of it.
For sure. Now, I don't want to get us too off topic here, but you bring up a really good point where people see you now, and I've shown realtors your videos because I think you're one of the gold standards of what realtors should strive to be like when it comes to their online presence, and especially in terms of YouTube. But the way you present and carry yourself, your tonality, your expressions, your body language, I use you as a model. And I show realtors some of your stuff, and they almost, like, a lot of them get intimidated, where they're like, oh man, like, yeah, he's been doing it for that many years, but that's Felix, like, he's just really good, I can't do that. And you saying like, hey, no, I wasn't always like that, I think it's comforting. But what maybe would you say to the realtor who's like, man, I want to do YouTube, but like, I suck on camera? What would you say to those guys?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very inward perspective versus an outward perspective, right? The truth is, no one's gonna notice that pimple on your forehead, or that your makeup isn't 10 out of 10 today, or that your shirt is super weird and they're gonna not watch you, right?
For sure.
A lot of times people are scared of judgment, and that's a human behavior, it's a human fear, and that's quite normal. But the truth is, no one's really focusing on what you look like. They're focusing on the message you're delivering. So it's no different than you leaving your front door and going out in public versus being in front of a camera. The public still sees you. Your words, your actions, your personality shouldn't change whether you're on camera or off camera. You should just be you, because there's only one of you, and that's your personal brand. And so a lot of people just get hung up on that, and it's that fear of judgment that really stops people from being their best version. And it's unfortunate, right? But for those that are on social media, and if you're watching this and to think about being a real estate agent, don't forget that you're not just a real estate agent anymore. You're a content creator. And in my opinion, in a few years, not sure exactly when, but I firmly believe that the audience, the people, the customers, they will be looking for a YouTube channel from you. No different than everyone having a website today.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the trend is going, and I'm ready to put the money where my mouth is. Everyone's going to be expected to have a YouTube channel, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, and I love that you guys are so ahead of the curve, right? Like, one of our responsibilities as marketers or as your marketing partners is to make sure we're keeping our realtors ahead of the game, right? Ahead of the curve, where it's like we see things going that way, we know things are going on video, but you mentioned it earlier is like the evergreen side of things. You didn't say evergreen specifically, but evergreen is meaning you do the work one time, it's front loaded, and your videos will continue to get searched and watched for years to come. So the effort is extremely high time leverage.
Right. They're topics that don't have a time expiry. So as an example, if I were to do a Calgary real estate market update today, in a month time from now, it's going to be dated. Versus if I said, hey, here are the 7 simple steps of purchasing a home, it doesn't matter if you're watching it today or 3 years from now, the process is still the same, right? It's just the tech or maybe the strategies might be slightly different, but the milestones are still all the same.
Yeah, no, 100%. So there's just some wisdom on the organic side before we maybe dive into the paid advertising side and maybe how that supplemented your business or your overall YouTube strategy. But before we dive into that, maybe can you share how it is that we actually met back in, I think it was maybe 22 or early 23?
Yeah, I was just getting peppered by calls from you.
Yeah.
You, well, not just me, but you also called my business partner, Jazz, right?
Yeah.
And, it took 17 times for you to reach out to me before we actually met. And, the reason why I decided to meet you, and I mean, as realtors, we get bombarded by calls all the time. Like if I open up my Instagram and I looked at, like the direct messages from people I don't know, there's like a laundry list of people who are like, hey, I can help you. Do you have time to take on 4 new listings a month? Or, hey, do you want to increase your business by, 50% in like 3 months, right? Like a lot of the marketing messages were the same. And that's all they did was they just texted, or maybe they just called once, maybe twice. But what I liked about you was you kept on going, right? You were consistent. you didn't take no for an answer. And I did say no to you a handful of times.
I think you did, yeah.
And that resonated with me after all these repetitions because, and there came a point where I'm like, I'm going to say no to this guy and I'll see if he calls back, Yeah. And you did. And the reason why I like that is because, it's not so much the service that you were providing, it's the character, right? A players don't do that. A players will not call someone 17 times to finally meet someone, right? And so when your message was different, slightly different at every single message. And so what I liked about that was, number one, was just the relentless calls and not giving up, right? Because that shows character, right?
Yeah.
The second thing I really liked was, the things that you were saying, it did provide value. It made a lot of sense. And, there's the one call that really got us chatting was when you were able to keep me on the phone for 10 minutes during dinner with my girlfriend. And I never answer my calls during dinner with her. That's our time. But you managed to keep me on the phone for 10 minutes. And it might not sound like a lot of time, but I don't give people the time of day.
For sure.
But, the things that you discussed, the things that you were talking about, kept me on. And I'm super happy that, we're working together. So when you find someone that inspires you, someone that you connect with, someone that you're like, holy shit, okay, this guy's a little bit different. He's willing to put in the work. You know, you have to listen to them. And I'm glad I did.
Oh man, yeah, I remember that. I remember calling you, like, I think I called you for like at least 6 or 8 months. Called, emailed, text. I had like different ideas where I was like, oh man, this would be a great idea. This would work so well for Felix. And I was like, you weren't even a client at that point. But I was like, I think when we find realtors who we really hunt out and we're like, man, like, we know YouTube ads work, we know this system works. It's just a matter of plugging the right person in. And when we find the right people, we are relentless, right? We never give up. And I think I wish a lot of people were like that with their leads, right? Because we do all the hard work, we get them the leads, they call them once or twice, and they're not interested, right? And it's like, well, you gotta put a little bit of effort in, right? But our goal with our realtors, for example, to switch gears a little bit, is to put systems in place where you don't have to put in as much effort, right? The work is a little bit more front loaded, where you're nurturing them on, I don't want to say the words autopilot, because nothing is truly ever 100% autopilot, but a better word is saying where the work is front loaded, right? Where you're creating a video one time, and in our case, we ran YouTube ads for you guys, where we created a video, had a lead magnet, which is just giving someone something of value in exchange for their contact info, and we ran that as an ad. So maybe tell us, Felix, about what your experience was like working with us when we ran your guys' YouTube ads.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, you guys delivered results. You know, the communication was top notch, right? As I had expected from you. And, you know, you really put yourself as, you know, more of a consultant, not just an order taker and just plugging us into a system and just kind of let it run. What I really appreciated was, you know, the weekly calls and the numbers that you showed me, because the one thing that I always ask marketers who reach out to me, I say, show me the results. Yeah, you guys all do the same thing ish, right? And cheapest talk. So just show me your numbers. Show me your numbers. And those are the things that you went through with me. And, you know, everything from, you know, the ad spend to the number of conversions, to cost per lead. And all of those metrics are important. And, you know, you were able to explain what all those metrics are, because, you know, we've never done paid ads, and not just explain it, but also talk about it in a way that how it impacts like us and our marketing campaign. So the communication was great. Just breaking it down, like, I felt like, you know, you were actually like we hired you, right? We felt like we hired you and you were in-house. So the communication was great, and you know, you educated us. You answered, you know, a shitload of my questions, because I have tons of questions, right?
Yeah.
And you know, there wasn't ever a time when I felt like you were upset or you were frustrated or you were just like, yeah, let me explain that for you, right? And so and that's why it's partners like you guys that we love working with. And it just makes work so much more fun.
Oh, I love that. That's the most important part at the end of the day, right? Like, work is work, but to make it enjoyable and work with the right people is always of utmost importance, right? So I'm glad to hear you like the campaigns. Now, maybe in terms of your expectations coming in working with us, you know, we hear today realtors get harassed every single medium, right? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, carrier pigeon, you name it, right? So what were your maybe expectations, if any, you know, kind of as we started the partnership?
Yeah, I mean, I think I could speak on behalf of probably all realtors getting calls from people like you guys, right? Like marketers. Is like, you know, because the pitch is all very similar, right? And yeah, you know, we're going to get all this business and, you know, life is going to be great. We can retire like in 2 years kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, you will never know what the service is actually like until you start it. And so when I'm looking at hiring a service, you know, I had goals, but not necessarily expectations, because it could go either way, right? You could be the greatest salesman and say, oh, I'm going to promise you this, but only deliver this. But what happened was you promised this and you delivered that. And so for us, you know, my goal was that, and the hope was that you would be more on the side of delivering what you promised rather than not.
I like that. A lot of people overpromise and underdeliver, right? So we try and, you know, underpromise, overdeliver, right? Which is, like you said, talk is cheap. So I'm glad we were able to achieve that for you. Maybe in terms of now the results you're able to get with working with us, what did that kind of look like in terms of the returns you were able to achieve when we ran your YouTube ads?
I think a simple way to put it is, you know, we 4x'd our investment with you guys, right? I mean, if you were to give 25 cents to someone and they were to give back $1 to you, like, wouldn't you do that all day long?
And most people say yes, right? It's tricky because it almost sounds too good to be true, where it's like you put $1 in and you get $4 back out. But it's like when we look at our 40 active realtors today and we look at the data across all of our different markets, the average return they see is about 4 to 6x, right? It's a multiple, right? Where you're putting that $1 in, you're getting X amount back out. It can be hard to wrap your mind around that, because it's like, well, that's never happened before, right? The average return of a stock market, if you're good, is 10%.
That's right.
Right now you're saying you can get a 400% return. There's something doesn't quite, our brains sometimes have a hard time understanding that.
And even if you're not playing the stock market, 10% is pretty damn good. Even though you don't really have to do much, you just have to buy an ETF in the S&P and just kind of let it ride over the time, right? It's getting lower and lower every year. But you know, like, it's even for people that don't invest, realtors that don't invest, it's hard to wrap your head around. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 25 cents, but you can give me $1 or $1.25 back. You know what I mean? So I understand the hesitancy of realtors, but until you actually start that service, and which, by the way, starting is one thing, but delivering on all the things that you need to do in order to get that listing or to get that lead, that's a different story. But that's completely on you, the real estate agent, right? I think the success of real estate agents isn't necessarily with you guys providing the leads. It's with us delivering on the calls, the follow-ups, making sure we're there on time, the conversion, right? The actual sales part, because you take care of the marketing. It's our job to do the sales. And there's lots of opportunities for real estate agents to increase their game. And a very small portion do, probably, 20% of the realtors, who, by the way, are probably doing 80% of the business.
For sure.
Those are the realtors that will most likely deliver, but they also have help. They have coaches and mentors and teams and support and resources that they can lean on, right? So, one of the lessons that I've learned is, your conversion needs to be good. And conversion with warm leads is one thing, but conversion with cold leads, that's a new game for us. We've never paid for ads. We've always done it organically through our YouTube channel, Live Inner City Real Estate, or through our past network, our clients, our friends, right? People that know that we're in real estate, and they just send us they just make introductions to us,
right?
And so that's probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is even though our conversion is extremely high, that's on the warm side. On the cold side, there's a different set of skills that you need in order to kind of get there, right? But
for sure.
I think you're helping realtors with that now, no? Or you will be soon?
Yeah, so the service, for anybody watching this, the service we offered for Felix was, we actually were the ISAs, where our team called and qualified leads on behalf of Felix. Like, they already came in pretty hot. And for your case specifically, Felix, you guys have such a large YouTube presence that it made our conversation so easy. Like, it was like butter. Like, it was like the conversation was like, oh yeah, Felix, like, I actually watched your content. So for anybody watching this who has an existing YouTube channel, right, where you have an organic database, paid ads, I think a lot of people, the mistake that they make, and I get this all the time, where they see paid ads and organic as like two separate things. But in reality, the two should work together in synergy because, hey, if you have an organic channel today and you run paid ads, these people are already familiar with your channel because they've watched a lot of your organic content. They're warmed up to you. There's all these different rules that people say, hey, they got to watch 7 hours of your content, right? So by them watching your organic content and then just hitting them with the quick call to action to, submit their info, we're going to give you this guide. They're so warmed up to you that the conversations we had and when we booked them into your calendar were super smooth, right?
Yeah.
So what we'll be doing that moving forward is actually calling and qualifying leads even further and then booking them into the realtor's calendar, right? Even more hands off.
Yeah. And I think that's awesome because I think that is, that was our biggest pain point, right? That was definitely our biggest pain point. And I think that's the biggest pain for a lot of real estate agents as well too. So if you're able to take that off of the plate of real estate agents, then I think your personal marketing agency is gonna blow up. And so I think that's great. And it's funny because when I listed the place for the lead that we got, the tenant knew who I was. They're like, "Oh, you're Felix, right?"
Yeah.
"Oh, I watch your YouTube channel." So it's funny, right? Like you just never know what you're gonna run into when you have a YouTube channel, because it's if you have a lot of evergreen content on there, it's gonna pop up in people's feeds.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Like you having a YouTube channel made our lives so much easier when it came to the calls and the qualification, right? I think that one of the leads, even like I have multiple leads have said on numerous occasions, "Oh yeah, Felix." It almost was like you had that local celebrity status. Where is it like, "Oh, you'll really connect me with Felix?" And it's like, yeah, like he'll talk to you, right? And it's like, "Oh wow," it had this kind of like awe, the shock and awe factor, right?
Cool.
So just not to take this conversation, not to have us go too overboard here, but maybe as we wrap up, would you say you were happy with our service overall?
Yeah, 100%. This was our first time hiring any service for anything paid ads, right? And so we didn't know exactly what to expect. One of the biggest concerns were are they actually going to deliver? Do they actually know what they're doing? Because we don't see anything on the back end. That's like all you guys, right? Are these guys a scam? Are they legit, right? Like, what if I blow, hundreds of dollars, in the first few months and I get 0 results, right? And can I trust this guy? Can he deliver the results that we're looking for? Especially the results that he's promising. And so, we had a lot of hesitation kind of going into this, but none of those fears of negative outcomes ever came true. And so for us, we're still working together. Here we are, right? And so, when we hire people for our business, when we see A players, like we want to hold on to them and keep them around, right? We want to make partnerships with them. So, that's what we see, you as Aaron, and we're happy to keep this partnership going.
Oh, that's amazing. And maybe last question as we wrap up here, what would you maybe tell someone who is on the fence of working with us?
You're damned if you don't. No, that's not a good way. You're not damned if you do, right? I guess we put it this way. If you never take a leap of faith, if you never try something new, then you will never know what the payoff will be. But if you try, then the payoff could be potentially a game-changing decision for you and your business. And it's okay to fail trying anything new, but the failure coming from that is you'll learn a lot of lessons, right? And so if you don't do it, then your business is going to stay exactly the way it is. If you're happy with that, cool. But if you're talking to, say, someone like you, then there's room for growth, there's room for opportunity. And so if you don't take these opportunities and like us, a leap of faith, you will never be able to get your business to the next level, whether it's paying for something or changing your mindset so that you can actually level up. And so, it is a leap of faith, but I've been through it with you. I've seen the results. We've gotten results. Again, like we've gotten 4x of our investment. And to us, it makes sense. And it's true. It's actually true. And so I think for anyone who's thinking about it, just do it. You have nothing to lose.
Thank you, Felix, man. That means a lot. Any maybe closing remarks just as we wrap up here? Final things you want to say? I know you plugged the channel a little bit. Anything else you want to plug here? Live Inner City on YouTube. What else?
Yeah, I mean, on Instagram, it's Live Inner City, all one word. I have my own personal channel, felixchan.me. But I feel like a lot of people haven't reached their full potential. And you can be that agent that you see on social doing 3, 4, 5 deals a month. You can be that agent who's, the top 5% of the entire company. You can be that agent to be coaching others, speaking on stages, doing all those things. You can be that agent. You just have to start, right? And you have to put some faith, not only in you, but in the service, in the mindset, in the coach that you may hire, or whatever the case may be. So I think everyone has that potential to be a top producing agent, whatever that means to you. And I think having someone like you by their side will help them reach those goals.
Hey, that means a lot, Felix. And I think those are some great words to end on, right? Very motivational. You brought out the Tony Robbins for the last little bit here. Felix, thank you so much for jumping on, man. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you in the next one. Be sure to subscribe to me and Felix, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye now.
Cheers.